jury impaneled by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia about cost overruns in the renovation of two separate Federal Reserve buildings. Yes, this is the very same thing that Donald Trump was embarrassed about when he challenged Jay Powell in person at the construction site a few months ago. Jay Powell schooled him in public about the cost overruns. Jay Powell also denied that he is responsible for the cost overruns in a criminal way in testimony to the Senate Banking Committee a couple of months ago. But that hasn't stopped Donald Trump from wanting to grab the headline, Grand Jury Criminally Investigates Jay Powell. But Jay Powell, much like former FBI Director James Comey, he is fighting back and not just letting his lawyers do the talking, showing a person who has tremendous confidence in his own innocence. He's taken to the airwaves and put up a video himself this evening or on Sunday night about the charges. So I'm glad you're here on Midas Touch and on Legal AF. Let's get to all of the receipts. I've got the video clip of Donald Trump with his lackey, Senator Tim Scott, trying to embarrass, wearing hard hats, trying to embarrass Jay Powell into resigning. This is all about pressure on Jay Powell to get him out of the Federal Reserve before his chairmanship ends in May and to get him to give up his seat before it ends in 2028. In order to give Donald Trump a 4-3 majority on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, to give him ultimate control over the Federal Open Markets Committee and control over interest rates. That is what this is all about. And Donald Trump sensing, I believe, that he's going to lose in front of the United States Supreme Court in his efforts to get rid of Board of Governor member Lisa Cook about cooked up fabricated charges of mortgage fraud, is now trying to lop it off at the head and get rid of Jay Powell and take advantage of him being a modest, and I mean that in a great way, modest individual. But it looks like Jay Powell is fighting back. Let's lead off with the clip of Jay Powell fighting back against these new charges. Let's play the clip.
Good evening. On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people. Thank you.
Right. Now, let's go back in time several months ago, before the East Wing was torn down, before on the wreckage of the East Wing, a cost overrun ballroom, Golden Ballroom, was built by Donald Trump at double the cost. In other words, should we be criminally investigating Donald Trump and his administration for the ballroom based on these same set of conditions? Okay. So let's start from the beginning. The Federal Reserve occupies a campus